Hey guys, so on today's episode, I'm joined by my friend OKSANA TOFFAN, who has her own YouTube channel called OT Coaching, and today we're going to be talking about self-love. So we're going to be turning this into this. Stay tuned. Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. So as I said in the opener, I'm being joined today by my friend OKSANA TOFFAN. OKSANA has her own YouTube channel called OT Coaching, and we are here today to talk to you about self-love. I really feel it's something that we lack in the world right now, and we definitely don't have an understanding of what self-love is. I feel like a lot of people feel like self-love refers to someone being like narcissistic, right? Like they only love themselves and they don't care about other people. So what is the difference between self-love that we're talking about today and narcissistic self-love?
Okay, so there's definitely a balance between the two, but they are both drastically different when they are like executed properly. So self-love is knowing how to obviously take care of and prioritize yourself, but just because you're prioritizing yourself doesn't mean that you have to completely disregard of everyone else's emotions or everyone else's well-being, right? So that's essentially the difference, right? You can love yourself, but you don't have to bring it to the point of narcissism where you are so overwhelmed and like consumed with yourself that you completely disregard your like the people in your life or just your surroundings or circumstances in general. Does that make sense?
It does. Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Okay, good. So some of the key points, I guess, of self-love, one could be is showing respect for ourselves and for our well-being.
Certainly. Another one is essentially taking responsibility for yourself and your own self-love. So I hate to break it to you, but I don't know if you've experienced this, but self-love can almost seem overwhelming sometimes, or can almost seem like it's work. And it can be a little intimidating.
Yes.
So when I say that it's like a responsibility, it means that you do have to check in with yourself. You have to make sure that you are in the right state of mind, or you have to be aware of when you are in the wrong state of mind, or like you're attacking yourself, right? Or you're overlooking or overthinking some things.
Right.
So it's definitely key to take responsibility and pay attention to your state of mind when it comes to self-love.
And also it's about embracing your past, your present, and your future, of course.
For sure. That comes, my best friend always told me, he said, you just got to own things. You know,
Right.
You have to own your mistakes. You have to own what you've done or the person you were, and you have to own the person you are now. And you do have to remind yourself as to who you want to become and what you want to involve yourself with in the future, right? So I think that's actually an excellent point, and I think it all comes down to ownership. Whether you just have to own what happened in the past, you have to own the person you are now, you have to accept the fact that you're continuously growing into the person that you want to become, right? And you essentially just have to own the entire process. Turn the word problem into opportunity. So it's like, I don't know, this is a problem, and instead
Right.
you say this is an opportunity, right?
It's an opportunity,
You
yeah,
change
for sure.
that way of thinking, and you ultimately allow yourself to grow some more, right? And you don't allow those feelings of fear or regret or that the feeling of vulnerability scare you into regression,
Right.
or a fear of growth.
So I feel like for myself, I understand self-love, but I don't feel I'm fully there yet. So, and one of the things I guess right now too that I'm struggling with is because we've been in quarantine for so long, and I've put on about 15 pounds, and I get upset with myself and I get angry at myself. So I feel like I'm losing a little bit of that self-love there. Mm-hmm. And I mean, how do you feel about?
I totally understand. I know exactly where you're coming from, but that's where it comes down to appreciating and acknowledging that this is just a journey, right? And it's a good thing that you have recognized a certain circumstance or a situation as something that is not to your something that's not to your standard, because that just reinforces the fact that you have your own expectations, your own personal expectations, and you won't settle for something. But that doesn't mean that you have to beat yourself up over this, right? My goodness, in quarantine, you're stuck in the house, you know, you're surrounded by great food or munchies, right? Gyms are closed, so yeah, it's bound to happen. But when it comes to learning how to love yourself, even like despite the circumstances, it does take a little bit of work. And I think the key word there is circumstances.
Right.
And actually, there's something that I follow in my coaching. There's a coach. Her name is Brooke Castillo, and she uses this thing called the model. Okay, and it essentially, so you write down the words in order. So it goes circumstances, thoughts, feelings, actions, results. Okay, so your circumstances would be like weight gain.
Right.
Or sorry, my apologies. Circumstances would be like quarantine.
Okay.
Okay, and then from that you'd be feeling anxious. When you feel anxious, you start thinking negative thoughts. When you think negative thoughts, you do things that aren't all too healthy for you. You start snacking, right? And then when you start snacking, you inevitably gain weight, right? When you're not.
I feel like you must have been hanging out in my house during this. So obviously you're seeing something that's happening here. So I guess, you know, it's about loving my body and all it's been through.
Certainly.
And accepting that where it is right now, things can change.
Exactly. But going back to it's so key that we recognize what the circumstances are. But in order to essentially hijack this way of thinking and not allowing your mind to ruin your day, or these thoughts to ruin your day, you essentially change your way of thinking, right? So you put thinking at the top, right? When you start thinking and realizing that circumstances are kind of crap right now, it's not my fault, right? Or there are things I can do, you ultimately start feeling a little bit better. When you start feeling better, you start taking actions that are a lot more better for you, start eating cleaner, and then your results are a lot more, I don't know, less weight gain or stuff, something like that, right? But it all comes down to recognizing what the circumstances are and reinforcing these much more comforting and supporting thoughts.
So, and I think that, again, so we're just using that as an example of for self-love, right? So just to kind of give someone a reference who may, again, not understand what it truly is to have self-love.
So something else, when it comes to taking responsibility, I actually learned something from the 4-Hour Work Week written by Timothy Ferriss.
Okay,
Incredible novel. Everyone should read it. Anyway, he goes on to talk about in terms of like owning like your circumstances and stuff like that. It's like the who, what, where, why, and how factor. So it's like what are you doing? Who are you doing it with? Why are you doing it? How are you doing it? And who, what, where, why, how. Yeah, that's it. I think I hit it all. Yeah. So often I'm always asking myself, why am I doing this, right? So if I put myself in a situation and I start to feel like my emotions start getting weird, I'm feeling anxious, or I'm feeling like upset or uncomfortable at all, I'd like to ask myself, why am I here in the first place, right? So I believe thinking like that and constantly asking ourselves why we're doing this in the first place is a extremely important part of self-love. Right? So in terms of like who you're hanging around with, right?
Are these positive people in your life?
Exactly.
Who are supporting what you're doing, or are they going to be detracting you from accomplishing your goals? Right?
Exactly. Because I mean, ultimately, it is up to you to put yourself in the situation that you want to be in, right? And sure, things happen, and you get thrown into things that you don't know how you got there, right? But and sure, it can bring you down a notch, but ultimately, it is up to us to get out of these things, right? And in order to do that, we need to understand why it's important to, right? And we need to listen to ourselves.
Yes.
Right? So.
And to add to that, you know, it's very important that people let go of relationships that constrain them, people who are not benefiting you. And also, one thing that I'm learning too is I'm learning that it's okay to say no.
Yes.
Right? And
Yep.
I think we live in a society right now where we agree to do so many things, and we stretch ourselves so thin, and we're doing things that we don't even necessarily want to do or enjoy.
Right.
So I feel like some of that also pulls you away from kind of self-love, because you're not really doing things for yourself. You're doing things to please other people.
Right, for sure. And you're very, very correct in terms of like that can definitely like wear you thin. But not only that, you're not only just lying to yourself, but you're lying to
Right. Yeah.
everyone else too, right? And most people don't know that you really don't want to be there. So, and that's where the ownership comes in, right?
Right.
I don't want to do this. And some people may disagree with it, but in the end, you're walking away proud, and you're
Right.
walking out of a sticky situation into a much, much better one where you can actually grow with it, right?
And then I feel too also that through this quarantine period, this has really been a time for everybody to do some self-discovery.
For sure.
And to kind of reevaluate the things that are really important in your life, and to focus on the things that you really, really enjoy, and to bring back that love in your life, the passion for doing things and the passion for yourself.
Yep,
I think is definitely important. So is there anything else that you kind of want to add to our little talk today that you feel like people should know?
Not necessarily, other than the fact that everyone's beautiful.
Yes.
And don't be afraid to be your 100% your genuine self, because everybody deserves love, and I guarantee many people are going to love you, even for the fact that you're being wholeheartly you. And once you discover that self-love and you work on it and you give yourself time, and you're patient with yourself, then you're going to radiate with it, and people are going to recognize that, and you're going to notice that your relationships become a lot more stronger and meaningful in that case. So
yeah, and I feel like everybody loves me, but I just have to learn to love myself a little bit better.
For sure.
Yeah,
for sure.
Okay guys, so that's all we had for you today. Thank you for watching. In the comment section below, please leave comments. Let us know what you think of the video. Let us know if there's self-love hints or tips that you have, something that you're working on. Also, let me know what you think of this combination with OKSANA joining me on the show today. I'm hoping that we're going to get together and be able to do some future videos for you guys. And guys, just a reminder again, please click the subscribe button on my channel if you have not already done so. Also, please give me a thumbs up, because it lets YouTube know that you're enjoying my content. Also, please follow me on Instagram and Facebook at Sean's Magical Odyssey. And OKSANA, where can people find you?
Well, you can also find me on YouTube, OT Coaching. You can find my website at www.otlifecoaching.com, or you can find me on Instagram. My name is just OKSANA_L_Toffan, or just, I don't know, find me through Sean's channel.
I'm going to say this about your Instagram picture, because I was showing the Instagram posts that I was showing to a friend the other day. I love the pictures.
Oh, thank you.
They are so good. If anything, please go and look at the pictures. They're phenomenal. Yeah, that's it, guys. So we will see you next time, and thank you for joining me on, or I should say thank you for joining us on Sean's Magical Odyssey, and we'll see you next time.
Bye. Yep.
Okay, you have it all. You can see it. Yep, yep.
Oh yeah, I guess that would have been smarter.
Well, I had Fallon doing it the other day, and she goes, "Why do we have to put it up on there?" Because I said it looks weird with the wire running
true.
up.
Do you mind if I put this up my dress?
It's fine. Hey guys, so on today's episode, What'll happen?